Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the Supreme Court ruling on two major decisions yesterday. We'll have the very latest and hear from Maine's Attorney General.
Plus, hazardous heat is supposed to begin today. We'll hear from MEMA and Central Maine Power on how we can all stay safe.
And the holiday weekend is quickly approaching. We'll have tips from AAA on how to prepare before hitting the road. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have all the day's news coming up over the next hour. But first, to check with that important forecast, and that is the big news of the day. Yeah, it's going to be getting pretty hot and humid out there today. Not quite as much today. It will be up in the 80s.
But tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow up around 95 or so. But feeling, I guess the real feels will be more like over 100 degrees, 110 degrees down in southern Maine.
Wow.
So
yeah, we're not used to that. We're not even really used to the summer temperatures, the regular ones at this point. So
yeah, it's a good time to make a plan now on how you're going to beat the heat today.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Lots of advisories posted as anticipated ahead of the heat. We have heat advisories in this little orangey color. We have extreme heat watches and extreme heat warnings with the heat that's going to be moving in with high temperatures and high heat indices with the high dew points that will be moving in, and also some air quality alerts that will be expected as well pushing forward today. So a lot going on with everything that's going to be pushing in. Meanwhile, that warm front's tracking off towards the north, so of course we have the clouds currently setting up. We do have a little bit of rain trying to sneak in this morning that will be backing off, so today we will be dry under a partly cloudy sky. Notice the rain farther down toward the south. There will be a slight chance for rain late tonight with more opportunities as we head towards tomorrow. So futurecast for today, you can see the rain early this morning. That gets out of here very quickly with a partly cloudy sky. Watching for some more storms early Thursday morning and continuing on and off throughout the day on Thursday. So your hourly forecast moving forward, here we are with decreasing clouds throughout the daytime period today with temperatures warming into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, leading us off this morning, new reaction to a major decision from the Supreme Court, the justices upholding birthright citizenship. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
The Supreme Court has upheld birthright citizenship, rejecting President Trump's effort to deny automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. to undocumented or temporary residents. Chief Justice John Roberts saying the 14th Amendment is clear, quote, a child born on American soil and subject to American law was made an American citizen. Many legal experts expected a lopsided decision on what was considered settled law. Instead, 3 justices dissented. Justice Clarence Thomas arguing the 14th Amendment was written to guarantee citizenship to freed slaves, writing the Citizenship Clause was consistently interpreted not to apply to the children of foreign temporary visitors. At the heart of the case, what the administration calls birth tourism, women traveling from countries like China to give birth in U.S. hospitals to secure citizenship for their babies. Justice Samuel Alito warning the court's ruling now preserves a powerful incentive to enter or remain in this country illegally. In another major decision, the court handed Republicans a win on campaign financing by striking down limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with their own candidates. Critics warn it opens the door for quiet favors between big donors and candidates.
It will probably increase the degree of silent quid pro quos between candidates and donors who can now give millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars quite easily. Justice Kagan in dissent called it an alternative checking account for the candidates.
And in a third major ruling, the court ruled states can ban transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams. The 6-3 decision does not force any state to ban them. It simply leaves the choice up to each state. Justice Thomas writing, a man does not have a legal right to compete against women just because he believes he is a woman.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry released a statement in response to the Supreme Court's ruling that upholds transgender athlete bans in schools. He says, quote, "Today's ruling, while predictable, is yet another disturbing affront to personal liberties by providing states with a license to discriminate." The court was clear that this decision had no bearing with respect to a state's choice to include transgender athletes, and as such will not implicate the Department of Justice's case against Maine. "We will continue to defend Maine's law," end quote.
Well, new reports show Maine is among dozens of states that could face high costs to keep SNAP running. Under new federal rules, states with high payment error rates must help cover the program's cost. Maine is one of those states. Max Williams reports.
Tonight, the future of Maine's SNAP program is in question unless millions of dollars are paid to the federal government.
It essentially opens up a new kind of hole in the state budget.
Under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, states with SNAP error rates above 6% face new financial penalties. A new report by the USDA shows Maine's SNAP error rate for fiscal year 2025 is 10.8%, slightly higher than the national average.
If the payment error rate is above 10%, then states have to contribute 15% of the total benefit cost of the program over the year.
DHHS says the error rate is primarily driven not by fraud, but by unintentional mistakes by SNAP clients or errors made within the state's processing system.
Through the course of the last 6 months to 9 months, the state of Maine has been effective in reducing its error rate.
Heather Paquette, the president of Good Shepherd Food Bank, the state's largest hunger relief program, says Maine's SNAP error rate for the current fiscal year is 10.3%. In June 2027, the state can choose to use either its 2025 or 2026 error rate. The lower the rate, the less money the state will have to pay back. But if funding can't be found to cover the error rate, more pressure could be put on to food banks.
It could present a situation where our work becomes more difficult.
Advocates say this also puts a lot of pressure on state lawmakers.
I wouldn't want anyone who's currently receiving benefits to be panicking, but I certainly think lawmakers are going to have to be thinking about how they raise extra revenue to fill this.
Well, the Hancock County Sheriff's Office is investigating a collision between a car and a pedestrian in Sedgwick. Officials say a person was struck by a vehicle on Monday night and the driver reportedly sped off. The person was taken to a hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the case remains under investigation and they are not releasing more information, including where that accident happened and who was involved. We'll have more information as soon as that becomes available.
Well, in other news, Sawyer's Ice Cream Bar in Newport was closed yesterday after a tractor-trailer truck collided with the building. The incident occurring right around 6 a.m. after the driver cut through the parking lot, presumably to avoid the new rotary that was completed last fall. Nobody was hurt, or it is unclear whether or not the driver lost control, causing that accident. The manager is hoping to return to normal operations today.
Well, also with the 4th of July just days away, millions of Americans are preparing to hit the road for the holiday weekend. But before you pull out of the driveway, experts say a little patience and preparation can go a long way. Our Alex Schley with more.
This holiday weekend, AAA is expecting a record-breaking 72.2 million people to travel 50 miles or more, including 3.6 million right here in New England. With that many cars on the road, officials say breakdowns are all but inevitable.
There are things they need to consider with their vehicles as well, just normal routine maintenance, oil change, checking fluid levels, checking their tire pressures.
Before you hit the road this holiday weekend, officials recommend taking a look under the hood.
Check is washer fluid, which is usually located under the hood towards either one of the corners towards the front of the car. It's most likely going to be a blue, orange, or yellow cap.
If you're close to needing an oil change, officials say it's better to handle it now than risk a problem later.
Important thing to check is also your tires. In addition to your PSI, it's also important that you check your tire tread. An easy way to do so is simply by taking a penny and flipping it upside down. By placing it along your tire tread, if you don't see Lincoln's nose, you're good to go. However, if you can see his forehead, it might be time for new tires.
With temperatures expected to climb over the holiday weekend, experts say your battery can take a hit in the heat.
But in the summertime, they overheat and they expand the cells of the battery. So the sides, instead of being nice and flat, they will be rounded, bulbous almost.
Officials also recommend checking your battery terminals for signs of corrosion.
The easiest way to look at corrosion is look like a big giant ear of cauliflower, or it will be blue. It could be either white or blue. But typically, if you see blue, that means you have battery acid that has leaked out, causing that color change.
And once behind the wheel, experts say the most important step is to have patience. In Bangor, Alex Lai for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, with those tips in mind, Maine's Emergency Management Agency and the Maine CDC are urging caution ahead of the hazardous heat, which is expected to roll in today. And maybe we might see some stormy weather along with it. They say extreme heat claims more lives every year than hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, and lightning combined. If you do have to be outside, they say you should stay out of the sun as much as possible and take frequent breaks from activity. They also suggest wearing loose, light-colored clothing, a hat, and sunscreen. They recommend staying inside if possible, and if you don't have air conditioning, take frequent cool showers or baths.
If you're in great health, you've got air conditioning, you've got a generator in case one of these storms knocks out power, be a good neighbor. Go check on the people who don't have these things. You know, anyone who's health compromised, who's elderly, check on them and see how they're doing.
A list of cooling centers is also available on their website.
Central Maine Power says that they are ready to respond to the forecasted high temperatures and the demand for reliable energy. They say when temperatures rise, so can electricity use, with more customers relying on fans, air conditioners, and other cooling equipment to stay comfortable. According to CMP, refrigerators and freezers also work harder during periods of extreme heat, and they do have some tips to help improve efficiency and reduce costs. They suggest cleaning or replacing air filters regularly, clean vents annually to improve system performance, check for insulation gaps and seal leaks to keep cool air inside, close curtains, blinds, or shades during the hottest parts of the day, and maintain a consistent temperature for heat pumps instead of frequently adjusting those settings. Well, the time now is 8:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, there are new developments in the Lincoln budget issue. We'll have the details ahead.
But first, another look at that steamy forecast. Today, we could see a little unsettled weather this morning. Then things will be clearing out as the day rolls along. High temperatures today around 88 degrees. It will be partly cloudy tonight, the lows dropping down to around 70. Tomorrow, even hotter. We can expect some scattered showers and thunderstorms with high temperatures around 95 degrees. We'll be right back.
Maine's farms are being sold to China. Chinese criminal networks are infiltrating rural Maine. But Senator Susan Collins is fighting back. Susan Collins voted to stop China from buying up our farmland. And Collins is helping to crack down on Chinese organized crime. Collins delivered millions in more resources for local law enforcement, protecting our families, our farms, and bringing big money back home to Maine. Call and tell Senator Susan Collins to keep protecting rural Maine.
I went through a pretty bad divorce. My ex handled all the finances and ruined my credit. No money in savings, and an 8-year-old daughter that I was trying to raise. My coworker said, try your local credit union. It changed my life. The credit union actually cared about my story and not just what was on paper. I just got pre-approved for a home loan to buy our first house. The credit union, they gave me the confidence I needed. They were like family.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
Is your Maine issued license or ID expiring soon? Good news! You may be able to skip the trip to the BMV and renew it online, including if your license or state ID is Real ID compliant. Visit maine.gov/SOS/BMV today to find out if you're eligible to renew online. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
Well, a lot of people will be heading to the ocean over the next few days to cool off and celebrate the 4th of July. But people should also be vigilant, including on southern Maine beaches where a great white shark was spotted this week. Harpswell Marine Resources and Harbor Management says the shark surfaced on Monday afternoon while fishermen were setting up gear a few hundred yards off Cedar Beach. A shark warning flag was raised to alert visitors about the possibility of a shark nearby. About 6 years ago, Maine's first and only deadly shark attack took place in that same area.
Meanwhile, there are new developments in the Lincoln Town budget issue. The Town Council voted on Monday to suspend the recently approved budget after facing significant public backlash over funding cuts to emergency services and other departments. Our Grace Blanchard has the latest.
Following pushback from residents, the Lincoln Town Council voted to suspend the latest budget, positioning them back to square one.
We needed to do this budget process in a better way.
Last week, the council approved a controversial budget that included significant funding cuts to public safety.
We don't want the people of Lincoln and the surrounding towns to suffer because we don't have the funding to support being able to help them as effectively as we know we can.
Lincoln resident and longtime nurse Erica Millett quickly took action and launched a petition to reverse the budget decision.
I felt incredibly concerned for Lincoln taxpayers, for their security and their safety.
Following the council's decision on Monday, Millett says the petition is now nullified, but she says it helped amplify community concerns.
We had a significant amount of signatures within just a few hours, so there is incredible community support for changes to this budget.
The budget cuts were an effort spearheaded by Council Vice Chair David Ireland to reduce taxpayer costs.
It's a good idea to find ways to cut the budget, but they went too far.
Budgets proposed by Ireland and town manager Wade Schaefer, who recently resigned, will now face public review again.
This turns things around and gives us a chance to really judge the budget in a fair way, to give the public a full voice in what we finally decide on the 22nd.
The town manager and Councillor Ireland had no comment. The council is scheduled to vote on the budget again on July 22nd, with public hearings being held on July 6th and July 15th. In Lincoln, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A central Maine town has disbanded a committee that looked after mobile home park residents. The town of Oakland saying the committee was originally formed to help residents worried about rental increases and maintenance problems. Sam DeCoste reports it was dissolved after the town manager says the committee didn't accomplish what it set out to do.
They're not bringing solutions, they're only bringing demands and complaints.
Tensions running high in Oakland, but the town manager says they're running too high. Kelly Penny Mishu moved back in May to end the town's mobile home park committee after it was formed a few months prior. The committee was meant to be a resource for residents dealing with rent hikes, poor road conditions, and maintenance concerns. Its last ever meeting escalated, with residents yelling and screaming at committee members.
And I do realize that it is a public meeting, but there's too much outside influence, I think, happening. The committee itself is too big. There's, again, high emotions. I feel it's not productive use of my time.
I reached out to Penny Mishu. She said the committee has had some success, including paving a park road, resolving sewer issues, and getting one park its own dumpster. But that the town would be more productive, she says, if she helped owners and residents on a one-on-one basis. As it stands, the town passed a mobile home park rent increase moratorium that will expire August 1st. But by then, a new state law takes effect. It will prohibit lot owners from raising the rent more than once per year and requires a minimum of 90 days notice before rent hikes. But town councilor Kelly Roderick worries the residents are losing their voice with the town.
They're the most vulnerable population we have.
Roderick is concerned they could be left behind.
They're not like apartment renters where if the rent goes too high, you just look for a cheaper apartment. You pack up your stuff and you go. These folks own their homes. Many of them own those homes. So moving the home is not cost effective for them to do that. It's thousands of dollars.
Sam DeCoste reporting, boy, people living in mobile home parks across the state are dealing with similar situations.
Absolutely.
Too.
I've spoken to a few, and the conditions, they're struggling for sure. Well, the time now is 8:19. After the break, major egg producers are accused of scheming together to drive up prices at the grocery store. We'll have more on that to come.
Plus, after upgrades and renovations, the Clinton Fire Department finally unveiled their brand new fire station. We'll give you a look coming up.
We invited passionate soccer fans to push Nissan vehicles to the limit, just like they do with their teams. Hurry in to the Nissan Summer Sales Event.
Now get 0% APR for 60 months on Frontier.
Hi, Todd from Dorsey Furniture here, and our red tag furniture and mattress clearance sales going on now. We have a special purchase of overstocked flex steel sofas, love seats, chairs, and recliners at least half off list. Famous Maker, queen size, showroom sample mattresses half off list. The largest selection of recliners and lift chairs in the Bangor area, with lift chairs starting at $7.99. Extreme values like this won't last long, so come check us out today. And thank you for supporting a Maine family-owned company. Be comfortable, my friends.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
We invited passionate soccer fans to push Nissan vehicles to the limit, just like they do with their teams. Hurry in to the Nissan Summer Sales Event.
Now get 0% APR for 60 months on Frontier.
A little over a year ago, Senator Susan Collins secured funding for the Clinton Fire Department that could go toward renovations and improvements.
The town of Clinton held a grand opening for its brand new fire station yesterday. Our Sam Miller has the story.
Clinton's former fire department has stood for over 75 years, and on Tuesday, the town received a massive upgrade. The Clinton Fire Department held a ribbon-cutting ceremony to celebrate the grand opening of their new station next to the town office. The new station includes 5 truck bays for emergency vehicles, as well as a kitchen area, conference room, and sleeping quarters for firefighters, nearly doubling the space of the previous location. The ceremony included comments from Senator Susan Collins, as well as local officials and emergency personnel.
So this is going to not only make response times quicker, but it also enhances the health and safety protections for our emergency personnel.
Last year, Collins secured $2 million in congressional district spending, which helped fund the project. Clinton Fire Chief Rick Barton says public reaction has been positive and believes the new station brings new and exciting change.
The department is great. A lot of our Facebook posts and messages and stuff are in favor of the department, and they're happy for us.
Barton added that the new facility allows for personnel to perform at their best, which means everything when serving the community. In Clinton, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Congratulations.
It's been a long time coming for them. Well, the time now is 8:24. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Another look at the advisories, and there's a lot of them. Heat advisories right there where you see this orangey shade and this red shade, extreme heat watches, and then the pink shade right there, extreme heat warnings are posted, and air quality alerts hiding right there along the coast as well. So a lot of problems taking place too with the heat setting up across the region. Water temperatures maybe along the coast you're thinking about cooling off. Definitely be careful with that extreme difference there with water temperatures right now in the 60s and a little bit cooler further off towards the north and east. Meanwhile, here's what we got. We do have clouds moving in from the northwest to the south and east. There is a small chance of rain early this morning. We're going to lose that as we'll be under a partly cloudy sky coming up throughout the daytime period today. You can see the activity right there. We will have a boundary passing through late tonight and the parts of tomorrow that will be bringing in opportunities for some more showers and thunderstorms. So there is a rain chance early this morning. We lose that very quickly with a partly cloudy sky later on tonight, and I mean late tonight. There's that opportunity for some more showers and thunderstorms, and that continues on and off throughout Thursday. And then once we head towards Thursday night, notice some more waves of showers and thunderstorms will be on the way. So of course the humidity, that's a big story. Look at the dew points. They will be in the lower, possibly middle 70s coming up. Some improvement late Friday and a little bit better as we head towards the weekend. So we need to give it a little bit, but it will start to feel better soon. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s. Any morning rain will be ending. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky later on with that south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, low 70s. An isolated thunderstorm late. There's that cluster to the north that will be moving in. Otherwise, partly cloudy areas of dense fog with a light and variable wind. For tomorrow, scattered showers and some thunderstorms. Look at that, a hot one. Highs in the mid-90s and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday. Mostly sunny with highs again reaching for the mid-90s. For the 4th of July, more showers and thunderstorms with highs cooling into the mid-80s. And then Sunday, here we are, a partly cloudy sky, highs in the mid-80s.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just one block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons. Lights, camera, cheese. The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
I was in the Army for over a decade, with 2 deployments to the Middle East. And I have never seen a veteran with a Nazi tattoo. Grant Plattner knew exactly what his tattoo was. Blaming it on military culture is disgusting. I've got tattoos of things I'm proud of. And I guess Plattner did too. Grant Plattner is a liar, a fraud, and an embarrassment. He's unfit to represent Maine. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's a big, big deal. Summer is a big deal at Toyota.
It's the final days of Toyota's Big Deal Summer Event, where you could get 5.99 financing on a fuel-sipping Corolla sedan with a modern and refined interior, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance. Summer's a big deal at Toyota, the longest-lasting brand with the best resale value. So see your New England Toyota dealer.
It's a big deal.
Toyota, let's go places.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just one block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
President Trump has released more than 900 pages of financial disclosures. They provide new insight into how much money he's been making since taking office. ABC's Karen Waugh has the details.
Good morning. Those financial disclosures reveal President Trump made more than $2.2 billion in his first year back in office. The biggest driver was cryptocurrency, digital money that exists online. Just days before he took office for his second term, Trump launched his own cryptocurrency. Investors poured millions into the president's meme coin, a type of digital currency inspired by internet memes or viral trends. Trump's disclosure shows he made $635 million through a licensing agreement for the sale of the coin. Another $524 million came from crypto sales through a financial firm that his sons help run. The coin has been controversial. Many investors lost money after the coin's value crashed in the months after launch. Its price spiked again when Trump offered his top buyers a dinner with him at his golf club. The White House denies any conflict of interest, a spokesperson saying neither the president nor his family has ever engaged or will ever engage in conflicts of interest. And a representative for Trump's business firm saying the disclosure form's length underscores our commitment to transparency. The disclosures also reveal the president made nearly $5 million licensing Trump-branded watches and more than $200,000 from a Trump-branded Bible. Forbes estimates Trump's net worth at $6 billion, up from about $2 billion before he took office for his second term. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to the prices of eggs, and some companies agreeing to shell out millions in the wake of historic price increases. ABC's Hannah Battah has more.
This morning, the Justice Department and more than a dozen states have reached a proposed settlement with 3 major egg producers accused of scheming together to drive up prices. The states and federal government claim Cal-Maine Foods, Versova, and Hickman's Egg Ranch secretly communicated to increase what consumers paid for eggs between June 2022 and March 2025. Average prices soared to a record high of more than $6 per dozen early last year, with some shoppers paying even more.
I was literally shocked to see the dozen of eggs at $9.26.
The companies have not admitted any wrongdoing under the settlement, instead blaming the high prices on the pandemic and the bird flu outbreak. As part of the agreement, they'll pay the states a total of $3.3 million and donate 53 million eggs to food banks and community organizations. Some agriculture advocacy groups say that doesn't go far enough, saying consumers paid record prices while dominant egg producers reported extraordinary profits. Yet the result is another settlement that corporations can treat as the cost of doing business rather than meaningful accountability.
The settlement still needs court approval. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
With millions across Europe still coping with dangerous temperatures and air conditioning not widely used throughout that region, the rising mercury is causing some people and businesses to make changes to how they respond to the heat, saying they've quickly learned some lessons. The Paris Region Hospital is ready to assist patients with any future bouts of blistering degrees. The hospital ordering an ice machine after emergency doctors were forced to place overheating patients in ice baths last week. And more help is on the way after the Prime Minister of France announced Monday that the government is buying 30,000 air conditioning units for health facilities, with deliveries expected at the beginning of next week. A hospital director shares what they have learned from the previous heat wave and what's being done next to combat the next one. Hospital officials say they are also equipping the psychiatric unit with a cool room for patients on each floor and organizing additional renovations to make sure patients don't overheat.
Continuing on that same topic, more than half of the country is now under extreme heat alerts, the worst in heat in more than a decade in many places, just as people head outdoors for holiday festivities, which are now being scaled back or rescheduled in some areas. Also a concern, the power grid as people crank up the AC. Here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
This morning, an emergency order issued for the nation's largest power grid as dangerous heat grips the Midwest and South and moves into the Northeast. The order allows PJM, which services 13 states and Washington, D.C., to operate at maximum output without environmental concerns as electricity demand skyrockets in the heat. Thousands of power outages already reported in Ohio.
Ice cold water.
From Nashville to New England, authorities bracing for the worst, with feel-like temperatures topping 100 degrees, some of the most severe conditions in more than a decade. Cooling vans with paramedics now being deployed across New York City. A health emergency declared in Philadelphia, officials there shortening the 4th of July parade, other cities canceling events altogether. In Dearborn, Michigan, a dramatic moment after a mother accidentally locked her baby in the car. Officers getting that baby just in time.
Babies just can't tolerate that level of heat for very long. We're talking minutes.
In the West, more than 50 wildfires are burning across 8 states. This security camera video shows one of the multiple wildfires in Colorado destroying a family's home and camper. Fire crews now paying tribute to these 3 firefighters killed battling a massive fire on the Colorado-Utah border. Thousands of people forced to flee, and with scattered storms expected in the Midwest and South today, dramatic video of a Georgia woman struck by lightning.
The lightning hit the tree, split it in half, hit my car, and then hit me. And I went into cardiac arrest.
She was not breathing and had no pulse. Now she's been reunited with the first responders who saved her life, giving a hug to each of them. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Close call indeed.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're coming up on the second half of the newscast. We'll learn all about the Sweet Dreams Project, which preps for Christmas all year long.
We'll have that story coming up.
Critical investments are strengthening Maine, thanks to Senator Susan Collins. The biggest investment in our rural hospitals in decades. New investments for working waterfronts, like the breakwater in Eastport. Investments to help homeless veterans find housing. Investments for Maine to train new doctors and nurses. Thousands of investments, thanks to the power of Senator Susan Collins. Call Senator Collins and ask her to keep delivering for Maine.
Imagine stepping onto your brand new deck, enjoying all the benefits of your expanded outdoor living space. Hammond Lumber Company can help turn that vision into reality. Visit any of Hammond's expansive showrooms and explore a world of possibilities. The timeless beauty of wood, the resilience of composite or affordable durable PVC. Railing options from traditional wood to sleek aluminum and contemporary cable railing. On-site consultation and delivery are available. Get started on your new deck when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Wednesday, July 1st, 2026, and it is also International Joke Day.
This holiday invites everyone to share a good laugh and appreciate the power of humor. The oldest known joke is an ancient Sumerian proverb that featured bathroom humor.
Of course it did.
Of course. This is a day to share our favorite jokes because science has shown that laughter really is good medicine. It can boost your immune system and relieve stress and can even improve our heart health.
Yeah, just do it at the appropriate time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like me, I'm serious all the time. And I know when not to joke.
That's the complete opposite, actually.
So true. Yeah, I love a good joke. You know,
yes, me too.
It lightens things up a little
It sure
bit.
does.
All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1863, the Civil War Battle of Gettysburg came to an end in Pennsylvania after 3 days of bloody fighting. In 1867, Canada became a self-governing dominion of Great Britain as the British North America Act took effect. The national holiday was known as Dominion Day up until 1982, when it became known as Canada Day. And just like we do with the 4th of July, our Canadian neighbors will be celebrating with parades, fireworks, and singing the national anthem as well.
Happy Canada
Happy
Day.
Canada Day to all of our northern friends. 1903, the first Tour de France bicycle race began, and in 1904 on this date, the first Olympic Games to be held in the U.S. opened up in St. Louis, and they were also the first Olympics to award gold, silver, and bronze medals.
And in 1963, the U.S. Postal Service inaugurated the 5-digit zip code. In 1979, the first Sony Walkman went on sale, sparking a revolution of the portable electronics. In 1984, the first movie rated PG-13 made its debut, featuring Patrick Swayze in the film Red Dawn.
Love that film.
Yeah, it is
The
really
Wolverines.
good. It is really good.
Yeah.
And lastly, in 1991, President George H.W. Bush nominated Judge Clarence Thomas to serve on the Supreme Court. He faced a contentious nomination process that was marked by allegations of sexual harassment.
Okay, for birthdays today, they include actress Pamela Anderson. She is 59 today. Actress Liv Tyler is 49. And actor Dan Aykroyd is 74 years old today, one of the original Blues Brothers. Happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Lots of advisories posted as anticipated ahead of the heat. We have heat advisories in this little orangey color. We have extreme heat watches and extreme heat warnings with the heat that's going to be moving in with high temperatures and high heat indices with the high dew points that will be moving in, and also some air quality alerts that will be expected as well pushing forward today. So a lot going on with everything that's going to be pushing in. Meanwhile, that warm front's tracking off towards the north, so of course we have the clouds currently setting up. We do have a little bit of rain trying to sneak in this morning that will be backing off, so today we will be dry under a partly cloudy sky. Notice the rain farther down toward the south. There will be a slight chance for rain late tonight with more opportunities as we head towards tomorrow. So futurecast for today, you can see the rain early this morning. That gets out of here very quickly with a partly cloudy sky. Watching for some more storms early Thursday morning and continuing on and off throughout the day on Thursday. So your hourly forecast moving forward, here we are with decreasing clouds throughout the daytime period today with temperatures warming into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, with summer temperatures creeping up, the insane heat is barking up the wrong tree. This as people and their furry friends across the country search for relief, like one animal shelter that's helping its critters find fun ways of staying cool.
Kiddie pools, splash pads, and bowls upon bowls of cold water. That's what's facing the pups at this animal shelter in Jackson, Mississippi. According to the National Weather Service, Mississippi is facing heat advisories and extreme heat warnings. The facility was converted from an old mattress warehouse and is rigged with fans and due to no air conditioning. Staff estimate the temperatures can reach over 100 degrees inside the building at some points. Employees describe the steps that they take to help keep the animals from overheating.
And so we have this splash pool that's behind me, and so some of the dogs are weary of it, but a lot of them come bailing out and directly to the splash pool or the kiddie pools. We've got several kiddie pools out here they can relax in and cool off too.
Well, the National Weather Service says Mississippi could see temperatures in the mid to upper 90s this week. This as wide swaths of central and the eastern U.S. are bracing for that sizzle.
Yeah, good advice here, too. We could help our pets. Don't forget our cats
Definitely.
and dogs and our donkeys and our chickens and everything else.
Yeah, they need to be remembered, too, in this heat. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
Being raped is one of the worst fears that women have. So we take precautions to avoid dangerous situations. Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped because he said we get effed up drunk. Mr. Plattner blamed the rapists, not the women. And now we learn Plattner used an app that's called a predator's paradise for child exploitation. Graham Plattner is disgusting, gross, and unfit for the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia, we've got something for everyone. Shop our full lineup of new all-wheel drive, gas, EV, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid Kias. Plus, enjoy affordable lease programs and more incredible savings on award-winning Kias. And at Darling's Kia, your new vehicle is covered by our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. Shop Darling's Kia. You'll do better at Darling's.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before, in between, definitely after.
This is The Perfect Line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. The Boston Red Sox are red hot right now, and after their win over Washington on Monday, they are winners of 5 straight. After sweeping the Yankees this past weekend, the Sox were right back at it on Monday evening with a matchup with the Washington Nationals, and they picked up right where they left off, scoring 4 runs in the opening inning to take a 4-1 lead. 2 more runs in the second and third inning were enough to get the Sox the W as they come away with a 6-3 victory and win their 5th straight.
To come out the way we did offensively the first 3 or 4 innings was nice to see. We jumped on some pitches, hit some balls really hard, got ourselves a lead. Again, we've talked a lot about, like, let's get runs early and play with the lead and let our pitchers navigate through that. So, you know, to continue to carry that from the momentum that we just had is a really good sign.
Now, Monday's win was an emotional one for Wilson Contreras, the Venezuelan native whose home country fell victim to 2 massive earthquakes last week. In the first inning, with 2 runners on base, he hit a ball over the Green Monster and out of the park for a 3-run homer to take the lead, and it was an emotional moment for the veteran.
The homer just represents something that I pray to God for it to happen, because as I said, that's the only thing that I can do for Venezuela right now, physically. And that's when my emotion exploded. It was nothing against the Nationals. I hit a homer. Of course, I tried to help my dugout, but the first thing that I said was Venezuela.
We've got some huge news out of the NBA as LeBron James has announced that he will not return to the Lakers this season and will become a free agent. LeBron is one of the most recognizable faces in sports, and after 8 seasons with the Lakers, he will once again hit the free agency block. It was reported on Tuesday afternoon that LeBron told the Lakers to, quote, move on without him because he wanted to hit the open market. As he has with each of his destinations thus far, James brought success to Los Angeles, winning the 2020 NBA Finals and becoming the league's all-time point scorer. With such a big superstar hitting the free agency market, there are already rumors as to where he will end up, with the most popular theory being that LeBron will make the move up to San Francisco to play with the Warriors. Others say he might reunite with the Miami Heat, but again, those are all just rumors. Alrighty, it's time to take a look at Tuesday's World Cup scores. It was Norway getting the 2-1 victory over Ivory Coast. Sweden falls 3-0 to France. Congo DR will be played on Wednesday at noon. Senegal and Belgium will play at 4 p.m. And Bosnia in the United States kicks off at 8 p.m. And now a look at what the round of 16 looks like thus far. Paraguay and France is set up to kick off on July 4th in Philadelphia. Canada and Morocco will face off on the same day in Houston. Brazil and Norway in New York. And the rest of these games are still up for grabs depending on who wins. Well, folks, before we close out, we have to take a moment to give our Jack Webb his flowers. As many of you may know, the National Sports Media Association named Jack the Sportscaster of the Year in the state of Maine this year. And this week, he took the trip down to North Carolina to accept his award. He joined many prominent sportscasters at the banquet, and when it was time to get his award, Jack was handed his plaque by legendary multi-sport announcer Sean McDonough. Big congrats to you, Jack. You deserve that. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Come home to the kitchen of your dreams. At Atlantic Designs, we redefine kitchen spaces, turning your dreams into reality. Our experienced designers ensure you get a stunning new kitchen while bringing function and style to every corner. Whether you're on a tight budget or ready to splurge, we've got the perfect plan for you. Your dream kitchen is closer than you think. So contact Atlantic Designs today and start the process. Your dream kitchen awaits with the kitchen people at Atlantic Designs.
To just see and smell death for months, that's one of the hardest things. It's 99% boredom and 1% sheer terror. Things happen at a time that is faster than you can ever expect.
So when people say it's fake or it's made up, I dare you to walk a mile in our shoes. Better yet, you don't have to walk a mile. Just take our Matterhorn boots and lace them up and see how heavy they are. They have our sweat, they have our tears, and they have our fears all locked up in a nice bow at the top.
A lot of people now, they see the political side, they see the ads, they see the smear campaigns. They didn't see him smiling on the oyster boat saying that, you know, the greatest thing that he figured out after getting out of the Marine Corps was that hard work in the place you love is the best thing you can do.
I'm Graham Plattner, and I approve this message.
For the first time ever on live television, the Stonington Lobster Boat Races are coming to ABC7. Fast work boats, big horsepower, and Downey's pride on full display. Watch Maine's lobster fishermen put their boats to the task in one of the state's most exciting summer traditions. Don't miss the live debut of the Stonington Lobster Boat Races. Sunday, July 12th from 11:30 to 2. The Stonington Lobster Boat Races, live on ABC7.
Welcome back, everyone. Christmas is months away, but the organizers of the Sweet Dreams Project in Skowhegan plan for the holiday all year long.
The project supplies Christmas gifts for children in the area that are in need. Our Jody Hershey stopped by to see the progress.
This is our game section. We love to give games so that kids can do things with their families.
Deb Tanner, a school teacher in Skowhegan, started the Sweet Dreams Project back in 2016 after seeing firsthand the need of those living in Somerset County.
We were starting with nothing. This is grassroots, zero money. Started out with just giving PJs and a book. That was what they got. And the first year we did 114 bags.
Since that first year, the Sweet Dreams Project has provided a gift bag with something special for hundreds of children to open on Christmas morning.
Somebody made this beautiful sweater, so we're going to give this as an outfit for a child.
The need has grown each year, and so has the generosity of the church and the community. So much so that the supplies for those holiday bags are collected, organized, and stored in a room inside the Skowhegan Federated Church.
It's unbelievable, the community support.
Tanner said she and other volunteers filled 875 bags in 2025, and she thinks they'll exceed that number this season.
There'll be more families that need help with what's going on with the price of gas, the price of food, the price of oil.
Tanner says this year she could really use large Christmas bags and tissue paper for the Sweet Dreams Project.
I don't say no to anybody in need, and my heart really feels so good when we can make children happy on Christmas morning.
In Skowhegan, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
To donate or learn more about the Sweet Dreams Project, you can reach out to Deb Doloff-Tanner on Facebook.
Thank goodness for people like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Another look at the advisories, and there's a lot of them. Heat advisories right there where you see this orangey shade and this red shade, extreme heat watches, and then the pink shade right there, extreme heat warnings are posted, and air quality alerts hiding right there along the coast as well. So a lot of problems taking place too with the heat setting up across the region. Water temperatures maybe along the coast you're thinking about cooling off. Definitely be careful with that extreme difference there with water temperatures right now in the 60s and a little bit cooler further off towards the north and east. Meanwhile, here's what we got. We do have clouds moving in from the northwest to the south and east. There is a small chance of rain early this morning. We're going to lose that as we'll be under a partly cloudy sky coming up throughout the daytime period today. You can see the activity right there. We will have a boundary passing through late tonight and the parts of tomorrow that will be bringing in opportunities for some more showers and thunderstorms. So there is a rain chance early this morning. We lose that very quickly with a partly cloudy sky later on tonight, and I mean late tonight. There's that opportunity for some more showers and thunderstorms, and that continues on and off throughout Thursday. And then once we head towards Thursday night, notice some more waves of showers and thunderstorms will be on the way. So of course the humidity, that's the big story. Look at the dew points. They will be in the lower, possibly middle 70s coming up. Some improvement late Friday and a little bit better as we head towards the weekend. So we need to give it a little bit, but it will start to feel better soon. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s. Any morning rain will be ending. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky later on with that south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, low 70s. An isolated thunderstorm late. There's that cluster to the north that will be moving in. Otherwise, partly cloudy areas of dense fog with a light and variable wind. For tomorrow, scattered showers and some thunderstorms. Look at that, a hot one. Highs in the mid 90s and that west wind at around 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday. Mostly sunny with highs again reaching for the mid 90s. For the 4th of July, more showers and thunderstorms with highs cooling into the mid 80s. And then Sunday, here we are, a partly cloudy sky, highs in the mid 80s.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
We invited passionate soccer fans to push Nissan vehicles to the limit, just like they do with their teams. Further proof that the Nissan lineup is tested and trusted by the toughest. Hurry in to bring home a winning offer at the Nissan Summer Sales Event.
Get 0% APR on select model trims for well-qualified buyers, or get up to $5,750 total savings on select Frontier trims.
Make your outdoor living space dreams come true with a little help from Granville Stone and Hearth. Granville can help you go from this to this. Outdoor fireplaces, custom outdoor kitchens, gorgeous stone patios, and more. You bring the dreams, we'll supply the materials to make it all real. Create your stunning outdoor oasis with help from the experts at Granville Stone and Hearth. Main Road, Holden.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
25 words or less.
Wed, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
You just won it!
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Hancock County's latest law enforcement officer just completed training. Take a look at this. It's Deputy K-9 Luca with K-9 Deputy Jordan Knapp. K-9 Luca is just a year old. After months of training, Deputy Knapp and K-9 Luca are now a certified K-9 team in article searches and evidence recovery, building searches, tracking of missing persons and criminal suspects, and criminal apprehension. They will be going for drug search certification in just a few months as well.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Well, animals at the Central Florida Zoo are beating the heat and keeping healthy during the big heat wave. Zoo officials provide ice baths, fans, and cooling stations for all of their animals there. 2/3 of the U.S. can expect a heat wave through the holiday weekend. As we've heard, definitely a good time to keep an eye out on your pets and animals.
Make sure they have plenty of shade and water to drink.
Yep.
And that goes for you too. You got to take care of yourselves. We're always giving the advice to everybody else, but gotta watch out for ourselves too.
We sure do.
So I'm headed home myself and going to be on my slip and slide all day.
Slip and slide.
Keep my neighbors entertained.
Been an ongoing joke this whole show. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Maybe I'll just run through the sprinkler a few
You
times.
can do that too.
Great. Have a great day, folks.
Today on 25 Words or Less, Bradley Cooper cast him in A Star is Born. And Bradley, if you're watching, on behalf of everyone who saw the movie, we're still waiting on that apology. It's Greg Grunberg! And joining Greg are gym buddies Pierre and Kirsten.